Hello and welcome. We're here for Ultimate League Season 14, Round 3 at the Autodrom Most for the Polish GP. This should be a very entertaining race. It's a track very reminiscent of Broad Oak race not Broad Oak, what am I thinking? Alton Park race just a couple seasons ago. You have the high speed chicane section lining the back of the track, the double right hand sweepers finishing you off into the final corners, the chicane starting out in the first and second turns, and obviously the long run down to the hairpin in the bottom left hand corner of the circuit. As it stands after a single lap of qualifying, Danimator is on provisional pole. It's a 29.07. It's most likely we'll see drivers dip down below that 29 mark for that pole position time. I'm sure we'll see a lot of improvements in the laps to come. But as it is, Danimator, who for this race has Andries as his teammate, Buda not present today. The second set of laps coming along. Girouni with a fantastic lap. That puts him up to P2. That would be his highest starting position in, well, maybe ever, but at least multiple seasons. That's a outstanding lap from him to be just 100th off the pole position time. As it stands, we'll see some improvement here. I have very little doubt. Kraft currently sitting in third for Scuderia Paracaro. He's sitting in fifth in the championship. He's going to overtake his teammate this race because he's not here, JT. Any improvements at the end? Not really. So it will be Danimator as your pole sitter. He's at a 29.07. Girouni will take what might be his first front row start of his career for RMC, definitely. In second place, Kraft will start third. He's ahead of Nuno and Hernandi, the LSA pair, lining up fourth and fifth on the grid. Kada will start from sixth position, ahead of Marian Frias, starting in seventh. Then it's Antti in eighth, Corvid in ninth, and I stole these words, reserving for Neon Sunset today. He is in 10th position, in for Figuera. Matimar starts 11th, then it's Kado in 12th, and Frozeni ahead of Pumpkin. Ruski reserving for Nordic Thunder today, due to Grandy's absence. Jurist, 16th place, Andries 17th, and Goose 18th. Throughout all the eras of UL, that is a pretty familiar three drivers to see on the grid for their respective teams. Goose in for Scuderia Paracaro today, the aforementioned absence of Charge JT. Buda, our championship leader, double race winner so far this season, also not here today. Nuno looking to take the top spot in the championship. Danimator is 6 points behind, so he will need to finish at least first with Nuno third or lower in that sense to be championship leader coming out of round 3. Kraft looking to make up some points, and surprisingly Hernandi, driver who was really thought to be a championship contender this season. Obviously he may still well be, but no podiums for him so far this season. It was 10th in the first race and 4th in the second race. What else? We've still not had a race from Marian Frias. This is her start to the season, so the defending champion looking to get off the board with some points here today. Help FGR out a bit. They're on 51 points in 4th place in the Constructors' Championship. This should be a pretty fun race. Here we go then. The race start here at the Autodrom Most. Soft starters for many. We'll see how well the front row get off the grid. We're underway, and there's big stalls behind Danimator. Girouni really slow off the start, immediately bogged down in the pack. Marian Frias all the way up from 8th on the grid, I think, somehow got up there. Antti and Nuno battling behind. Kraft has fallen down 4 places off the start. Hernandi, like a rocket, up into 2nd place on that start. Girouni, I think, must have had some sort of issue because he was very slow away from the grid. Marian Frias up. Kraft down. Corvid there as well. Antti there. Kado up a couple positions, as is Frozeni. Ruski also fighting that fight. Andries up masses of positions, 5 spots for him at least. Kada has gone down 7. That was undoubtedly a stall for him off the race start. Goose and Matty, Eurus and I stole these words right at the back for Neon Sunset Racing. As their reserve driver, Danny makes a mistake. He holds up Hernandi, and that immediately invites this pack back in to the slipstream range of our front-running drivers. It's still Hernandi in second, but chaos as they go through the chicane. Jeru tries a bit more of an aggressive cut. Hernandi is going for an overtake on Danimator there. Marian Frias in third place at the moment. Corvid up in fourth. Nuno in fifth, and Jeru down to sixth position already. Anti, then Kraft, Kado, then Ruski. Andrews up into 11th now. Kado well down. And that back three now all fighting together. Eurus has sunk to that rear end of the field. Forced wide is Danimator. Hernandi just wriggles through on the inside, and Marian Frias will follow him through that little channel up the inside of the second corner on the exit there. Corvid will also be looking at a potential move here. Jeru and Nuno still in the slipstream. We've got two FGRs, two LSAs, an RMC car, and both in the sense of the team and the adjective mayhem here at the front in the first 4 laps of this race. Danimator back into the lead. It's a really tight, fiddly first couple corners. You need to slow the car right down, get the rotation going, and get yourself cleanly and safely through that corner most of all. And drivers have been struggling with that just a little bit. Hernandi in second. It's Jiruni moved up to fourth now. Corvid back down in fifth position. That front six is really a pack as it stands. The two Finns fighting. It's Kraft and the anti-amazing scrapping it out over 7th and 8th. In the background, we've got Andrews and Frozeni. Again, Andrews with just an incredible start. I'm not quite sure how he's done it, but full credit to him for it. Then we also have further behind Kado still in 11th. Ruski, Kada, Neon Sunset Racing Cars. I stole these words just forced off by Pumpkin there. The Brit and the Norwegian man scrapping over 15th place. Goose and Eurus right at the back. Marian Frias has hit the front. The LSAs fold into third and fourth. Jaruni and Corvid now going side by side in the background. Jerry got a really poor exit out of the second corner. Just fell away as I think he was forced wide onto the grass, or at least definitely found his way onto the grass somewhat. But Marian Frias still leads. Hernandi looking dangerous. He needs to think about the team game. Nuno's right behind him, and any screw up from him could have repercussions for his teammate. Jeru is in for the undercut. Hernandi weirdly has ghosted. He's gone to the back of the field. I hope that is just a temporary issue, because on our timing screens it has him well down the order. He is now restored. No, he's not. So Hernandi is in 17th place on our timing screens. 18th now. So I think he's missed a checkpoint or something of that regard. That is worrying to see, because that may well directly affect the results of this race. He's into the pit lane now. We've got a ferocious scrap going on out on the track. It's Nuno and Corvid first and second, and were ghosted for a second, unghosted. I think Corvid actually hit the ghosting checkpoint or something like that. But definitely merging into each other. Matty hasn't stopped yet. He's in 5th place, so if the rain came now, he would be thanking his lucky stars. Hernandi, Marian Frias, Jeru is back in the slipstream of these two, who are right at the front to begin with. Bad news for him is that Kraft is also latching on in that beautiful white, red and green SCP. The golden FGR car up the inside of Matimar there. I stole these words, is into pit lane, out from, well, he was in 10th place, tumbling down the order, and he'll probably go right back to the position he was in before, battling it out. Down in 17th place he now is. Corvid still leads ahead of Nuno. They're now banking on a bit of rain to help them out. They're definitely extending this first stint a few laps longer than the rest of the soft runners. That will also have a strategic advantage to them later on. But as they come into the lane, it is Danny who is massively flying out in the lead at the moment. First place for him, then Corvid, Marian. I think, yes, Hernandi's issue has fixed itself. His transponder issue has been now solved. Back up into 5th place he is on our timing screens. Anti has pitted for the hards and is in the slipstream of Nuno. So Nuno, I think, has he's obviously lost a bit of time through that overcut coming into the pits. The last driver into pit lane. Kado and Frozeni having a little bit of an issue back there. It's the FLF's cars right behind the RMCs. Close ties between those two teams, but no love lost out on the circuit. Frozeni up the inside into one. He blocks off Kado in the mid corner, and that's going to keep him that 9th position for now. Danimator looks to run away. He could make it the 3rd victory of the season for Mayhem Racing, although it may not be their 3rd overall victory of the season. The team victories, of course, coming if you score more points than every other team that weekend. That used to result in being given the most points through an allocation system where Constructors' Championship points were allocated via rankings of how many points your driver lineup scored, with all sorts of complicated maths going on there. But we scrapped that from Season 6 onwards, and it's a straight fight. If Mark finishes down in... Well, he's actually not doing too bad at the moment, he's in 12th. But that will drop points for Mayhem after their strong start to the season, where they've got 2 wins, 4th and 3rd place for Danny. Buda absolutely on form, and Danny looking to pick up the slack where it matters. Danny had some really great pace in Brazil, actually. Was right in that fight for the leads. The 1st and 2nd place cars were the Mayhems, and then just towards the end of the race, as it became a bit more complicated in the battle with Nuno and Charge JT, slipped down to 4th in the end, and he would be a little bit disappointed about that, but looking to take his first victory of the season here today. He did take victory last season, round 5. That was a interesting race. It was also Kraft's first podium, and Kubo's only podium of the season. Kubo not racing with us today. Kraft, speak of the devil, chasing down Marianne Frias in her first race of this season. He is in 3rd, she is in 2nd. They are both on the soft compound tyre, and you can really see a general trend. Antti and Kada aside, the 5 drivers at the back are all running a harder compound of tyre. Jeru has come in for his 2nd pit stop. He was right at that front pack, and now does seem to be a fair few seconds off the likes of Kraft and Nuno. It's pretty average pit lane length here. It's about 7 and a bit seconds or around that area, so it's not exactly something where you'll be coming in losing 15 seconds, and that can massively change your race depending on rain and strategy, etc, etc. But it's Danny, then Marion and Kraft now in to pit lane. I don't think we've got ghosting on, or at least I'm not seeing it. Antti going through, he's now up into 5th place. Corvid and Hernandi also went through, up into 3rd and 4th, and Nuno into 2nd. It is probably a matter of time before the rain comes and, well, throws the favour of the dice in someone's favour, but we don't actually know who that's going to be at the moment. Kado is out on, I believe that is a visual glitch. I don't think that he's on a 0 stopper. I don't think that he is on softs that are that old. That wouldn't make any sense. So I'm going to have faith in the fact that he has stopped, because that would be quite odd otherwise. Kada with a B. Antti chasing down Marion at the moment. We'll look a little further down the order. I always get shouted at for not covering the midfield enough, so here you go, guys. Matty, and I stole these words. It's the Neon Sunset drivers, 10th and 11th. That'd be a good points haul for them. They're looking to get a bit of air between them. FLF, RMC. RMC had a good start to this race, and since then, Jeru down in 12th place behind both of the Neon Sunset drivers. You could see him just in the background there. The FLF's out on track. Frozeni just allowing Matty a bit of room. Kada a bit of room. Kada's come out on the fresher medium, and this will be a simple slipstream affair. Meanwhile, up top, it was a very close gap between our race leaders. Nuno has come in for a 2nd stop. Corwood still just the one for the Australian so far. He's not finished in the top 6 so far this season. It's very much the opposite of last season, where he got a great deal of finishes in the top 6. In fact, every single one of his final 6 races of the season he finished up there, so he did very well. But 7th and 8th for him so far this year. It was, though, the fastest lap. Yeah, fastest lap in the last race. Danny coming up to lap Goose. That's our first lapped car so far today. Down in 18th place. Race leader on lap 21 of 47. Nuno holds the fastest lap. He holds 4th place on track. Doing a little review, we've got Danny on slightly worn soft. Marion's with a little more wear. Kraft's a very similar life. Nuno on fresher softs. We'll do a direct comparison. It's him and Danny. Yes, his are just a lap fresher, it looks like. That was the overcut at the start that allowed him to go long before taking a 2nd stop as well. Anti pits. He comes out in an RMC sandwich. Jeru still ahead of Caddo, but the gap between them has closed from where it was on the grid. And indeed, Caddo, on a fresher hard compound tyre, just needs to try and negotiate his way past the Finn, or maybe use his slipstream to overtake his teammate. This should be a pretty intriguing battle, actually. Caddo not that far behind, nor is his teammate Frozeni, 1.8 back from the Colombian. I stole these words in for NSV in 12th position at the minute. Good battle going on for second place. It's Kraft, Marion, and Nuno. Goose, unfortunately, not involved in that at the moment. Kraft and Marion, as previously mentioned, very similar life softs, or very similar age softs rather, and Nuno will be looking to get the overtake done because there is nothing worse than being on a fresher tyre stuck behind two slowpokes with a bit more wear on their rubber. He's going to want to just slice through here. I mean, he could take slipstream, but at that point, there's very little advantage to have been gained from his overcut previously, because he might as well have just pit for those tyres if he's going to run laps at this pace. Not at all saying that Kraft and Marion are slow drivers. They are some of the best, but they're both in now. Nuno is unleashed, and they actually still have a little bit of life left on those tyres, but once they start yellowing out, you do need to get in, otherwise you are shedding time to your competition. That promotes Corvid up into third and Hernandi into fourth. We've got a great scrap, 6 cars all looking to be on the podium. I think Danny has all but booked his place, and speaking of bookings, pretty much checked out in the lead of the race, but Nuno is a formidable driver. I don't think you need me to tell you that. Mart says B. We're not quite sure what he wants to be, but go Mart. We fully support you in your endeavours. He's in 15th place, so maybe he wants to be a little bit quicker. At least overtake Pumpkin so he can rise up into 14th. Nuno, second. Corvid, then Hernandi. Hernandi on a much older soft. Kraft and Marion should make pretty light work, but Hernandi does have the motivation of defending here, because normally you wouldn't really bother, you just try and take a bit of slip, you wouldn't want to slow yourself and others down. But here, if he can hold them off a little bit longer, and I think he'll be coming in this lap, but if he can hold them off just a bit, no, he's not going to play the team game. That would have been great, that would have been really class, because that, I mean, obviously Nuno on a different strategy, but it would have just given him the bit extra daylight that he needed on that alt strat. A bit of extra time over Marion and Kraft, who he is in pretty close combat with. Not on track at the minute, but at least in terms of strategy, Hernandi though prioritising slipstream and his overall race time as well, and who can blame him? He needs a good podium here today. 4th place last race. He has called himself the P4 master in the past, but well, last season he did very well. He finished 1 race off the podium, and he's already done more than that this season. He's going to look to get right back up there if he can. Caddo running in 8th. Cadder running in 9th. I stole these words. Then Matimar, Frozeni, Jaruni, Andres and Pumpkin look to be in a bit of a scrap at the moment. Let's see how this develops. Andres on the soft, Pumpkin on a slightly older hard actually. So Pumpkin probably just taking some slipstream. Mark doing his own racing lines out there. No real regard for track limits. To go through the high-speed sweeping section of this track, it would remind some of a bit of Alton Park, a little bit of Assen maybe, with that somewhat 90-degree corner that our race leaders have just gone through now. Corvid now in the lead on a much older soft. He is into pit lane, and we'll see the positions that he loses. Danomator past Marion, Kraft, Nuno, and Hernandi will come in behind Corvid. So very much in tune. Their strategies are they now have the same life soft compound tyre. So that will be interesting for strategy going forward. We'll see how that in particular works out. I stole these words. He's in 11th place at the moment. He raced for FGR last race. Did a bloody good job of it too. He finished in 5th place, just a fraction ahead of Anti. So he's going to be looking to bring some points to the team that he is actually contracted to as an academy and reserve driver, to use the old-fashioned full name of the ANR role. No, still just a little bit behind Kraft. Kraft on the older tyre. We've seen this before. It happened last stint. It'll happen again this stint. I have very little doubt these guys will be in pretty rapido. Marion and Kraft, at least, I think will be in this lap. Nuno goes through. These drivers will be unafraid to slipstream him. They just need to make sure they can slipstream him. Kraft is out of Nuno's range at the moment, therefore needs Marion not to make some sort of mistake. We've got 15 laps and one sector left to run in this race. It's been pretty standard running so far. Weather marker moves, as Levy would say. Rest in peace. Marion and Kraft in this lap as thought to be. No ghosted pit lanes. They just need to be a little bit mindful of what they're doing when they're coming out, and they should come out just ahead of Antti. Finn against Finn, just as it was earlier in the race, but Antti this time on an old set of hards, and Hernandi is not in a great position. He's out in 7th place. He's just been overcut, of course, by Kraft and Marion, who fitted for that fresher soft and come out ahead of him. Not to say that they weren't ahead of him strategically before, but that does confirm it. Antti just slipstreaming at the minute. Kada still in 8th. This is a fantastic result for him. It would be his first top 10 finish of the season, his second top 10 finish of his career. He finished in 8th place at the 7th round of last season. And that is a really strong result for him, it would be, for the FLF team. Definitely sitting in 7th in the championship, 2 teams below them, and a long way above them to make some points. Antti into the pit lane. His teammate is also in a lap down, Risky hopping in for the NTH outfit today. I stole these words will come in hot right behind the big wide bum of the Finnish car. Clouds are coming. We've had sunny skies this Sunday in Poland, but we're not going to have that for too much longer. It is going to be a bit of cloud cover, and drivers will take that into consideration with their next strategy. Some drivers have admitted to not wanting to pit when the clouds are out. Just wait for further announcements, because if it's rain coming, you're going to save yourself a stop, and if it's sun coming, then you know there's a much lower risk of being screwed over, at least in the near future, by a bit of track dampness. Meanwhile, and this is pretty big, Nuno, through some very good lap times, has finally caught Danimator. He finished 3rd in round 1. He finished 2nd in round 2. He has never ever won a race for LSA. He hasn't won a race. Well, actually, he won at the end of last season, didn't he? Yeah, but you know, let's be frank here. Oh, we've got some heavy rain. That is what I'm talking about. That is beautiful. What an electric ending this is going to be to the race. Nuno in right behind Danny. Corvid in 3rd. Marion got hauled up behind. I think Kraft got something. That was a bit of a weird movement. But Marion definitely held up by her teammate. Hernandi in 6th. Kada in 7th. Antti a little bit disadvantaged by that, down in 8th position now. Yeah. And then we've got the RMCs tight-knit with I Stole These Words, fighting over those top 10 positions. That stop, and I didn't quite have my eye on it as it happened, but I think Nuno might have been a little bit held up by Danny just coming into the box, and that is unfortunately the fault of the non-ghosted pit lane for this race. We've got 2 gambling on the inters. Shocker, one of them is Urist. He does love an intermediate. The other is Frozeni. And that gamble looks to have paid off, because what do you know? We've got some clouds coming back. That seems to be working out pretty nicely. Andrews and Pumpkin in a bit of a scrap. Danimator has, as he crossed the line, 8 laps left to hold on to the lead that he has seized on lap 1, pretty much. And I think he's led the entire race, if not some early laps that he didn't. But I mean, that has been pretty impressive from the German, looking for his first win in 7 races. Nuno looking for his first ever win for LSA. It would make it the 5th team that he's won for. He won for FGR, he won for VEO, he won for Lynx, he won for RMC, he won for SCP. So the 6th team, the 6th constructor that he will have won a race for. That is, I have very little doubt, is a record. Clouds coming. We've got sun at the moment, but one thing is certain, the track is drying up. FGR having a really nice little race. They are going to definitely leapfrog SCP as it stands. Goose in last place. Unfortunately, pointless for SCP at the moment. Kraft, a valiant effort up in 5th place, but both FGRs ahead of him. That will be a huge points haul for the Canadians over the Italians. A bit of lag at the moment. I believe that is on my side, so I do apologise for it. No, it's... Oh, okay, no. Okay. I saw Danny going down the HUD and my heart sank for him. I couldn't handle that. Quickly, we'll look at the fastest laps. Nuno a 10th quicker than Danny for the fastest lap at the moment. One final stint they have now. Oh, look at that. So I didn't even realise, of course, because of last season's Constructors' Championship. FG are the winners, of course, but then you've got LSA in that second place spot and Mayhem in third. You've got Nuno and Danny with pit boxes right next to each other. Nuno there had a quite a poor pit exit there. Nandi has stayed out on the wets. I feel he's gone with the nothing to lose, everything to gain strategy, we'll call it. Gamble, one might want to call it. Matty will suffer even more off this because he's got way long. Oh my god, he's literally should have just passed the pit entry. I mean, if he's... Oh my god, Hernandez stayed out. Crikey. What is he doing? Get into the pit lane, man. You're a danger to society. The same can be said for Matty Mar on many occasions. This is no exception. He is into the pit lane. Hernandez is down to 6th. I feel he may lose position to Kada if he keeps up this lightning quick pace through the final sector. That gap is closing. It was about 10 seconds. I feel like he's probably just got enough of a cushion to firm that. But he does make his 5th stop of the race, and we've still not got that much progress. Danny with really, really impressive pace, and Nuno with not a lot of answer for it is still 1.29 seconds back, as he has been for quite a long time. We've got Cato saying P. Side by side he goes with his teammate. They need to not fight, because I don't want that to happen. They need to finish ahead of I stole these words. Double top 10, but stop fighting, idiots. Sort yourselves out. Come on. It's not a matter of pride here, boys. 9 and 10 for the team is 9 and 10 for the team. They are nearly a lap down to Danimator and Nuno. That gap's still remarkably at 1.2 seconds. We'll track the lap times here. Danny said a 29.28. Nuno was 1/10 quicker on that last lap, but this is the last lap. The FGRs tightened it. I wonder if Corvid will launch a last-minute offensive. No, he won't be able to, because I feel like he's just been swept off there. That opens the door for Kraft. Meanwhile, Nuno looked to have closed the gap there, but I really don't think it will have been enough, because this has been one of the most commanding performances of his entire career. Danimator returns to the top step of the podium in Ultimate League. He wins the Grand Prix. Nuno takes 2nd place, his tied highest result for FGR. It's Marion Frizz ahead of Corvid and Kraft. Hernandi, with that late gamble, staying out on the wets, has thoroughly socially distanced himself from the top 5. He will take 6th, and Cato with a career best 7th position. Take a bow, the young Colombian driver right there. Girouni and I Stole These Words were side by side across the line, and I think I Stole These Words stole the position by 100th of a second. Frozeni ahead of Matimar. Pumpkin and Andrew still giving us great entertainment. 14th and 15th is all they're fighting over. Pumpkin, surely one last offensive. Mark defends into the... Oh, I think that's going to be a penalty. Yeah, I think that it will be a position returned, because I feel like that was slightly over the limits to end off the race, with Ruski will take a point home for Nordic Thunder, and at the end of the day, every point matters. Coming into this race, they were just 2 points behind FGR. Here are your final race results. Danimator, after just short of 24 minutes of racing, takes the victory here at the Autodrom Most. Nuno, 2nd place and the fastest lap. Marion Ferreras, in her first race of the season, defends her championship valiantly with a podium over her teammate Corvid, who I feel like just got a little bit of an issue coming out of turn 2 on that final lap. Will take 4th place. It was Kraft, then Hernandi, Kada, then Anti, Kado back in the top 9, and I Stole These Words taking 10th place for the Neon Sunset team. Valuable points for them, and I believe their first top 10 of the season, if I am not mistaken. Oh no, it's not, sorry. Figueroa got 9th place last race. But a good result nonetheless. Girouni in 11th, just a hundredth behind him. Then Frozeni, Matima, Pumpkin, Andrews, Urist, Ruski, and Game on Goose rounds out the grid. That was a very, very entertaining Grand Prix. We'll get a few interviews going now, because why not? First, do we want to have... Okay, Goose just deafened. I was just about to come to him. Actually, Juan, from a spectator's perspective, do you have any sort of analysis for that race, your driver's performance, the general race?
Well, I would just want to tell you, stop minimizing your application. Oh, sorry. If you're not going to minimize the application, because then the stream cuts out and it's mildly annoying. And of course, well, 7s, 12s, solid stuff on the boards. We beat NSR, so can't complain about that.
Right. Yeah.
Everything else wasn't the best race, wasn't the worst. Fun race. Again next week.
Yeah. Well, good stuff. Not a bad result for the Flow Force boys. Great result for Kada. If we can hear from Nuno. Second place in the end. Looked like you were about to get him, but it was always just about a second off. Did he just have too much pace for you today?
I already have a lot of pace, could have won, but there's always something that needs to happen in the race that cost me the win. Last week was me doing a very bad lap, and Antti passed me and pushed me off. Now today's race was Parvit's ping. He went very wide, and I got really pushed wide. It cost me like 1 or 2 seconds there. So I always have to come back every single race, and yeah, things just never go my way. But maybe eventually should get the win, and I guess when the win happens, it's certainly gonna be the best feeling. But yeah, for now I just have to, I don't know, just keep going. I know I have the pace. Think I'm not just. It just needs to, like, not have something that goes badly, and that's it.
Yeah. Well, when that perfect race comes, I think that will be a resounding victory. Danny, pleasure to have you here. First place, what a win. Led from start to finish. Good day at the office.
Well, sort of. The beginning, well, yeah, I started pole, but that beginning, like 3 laps were a little bit tough. And Andy was in the mix, and I was like, oh, is he gonna slow me down for Nuno? And I was like, yeah, no, I want to lead, as soon as possible. Kind of fighting back the lead. Also, Marian was very fast in the beginning. And then suddenly, at the first pit stop, I was 3 seconds ahead. I didn't know what happened, and I just had a lonely race until, like, I think Marian had a different strategy than me. I was going for long stints, and she might have undercut me or something. She got closer and closer every time, and then suddenly Nuno was behind me, and yeah, he was hunting. He was, going for blood. But yeah, I really just had to get into a flow, and I think our pace was pretty even in the end. And yeah, luckily the pressure wasn't too much this time. It was pretty relaxed.
That's good. I mean, there can't be many more terrifying things in UL than seeing Nuno on your rear chasing you down for the race win. But I mean, so how do you deal with the pressure of that normally?
Oh man, like in previous seasons, he had that lucky golden, livery, and now he's that blood red LSA. Like that even, makes it worse. No, but it, like, for the last 2 races, I was always behind him, kind of rear gunner for Buddha. And since Buddha, couldn't show up today, I had to step in and somehow beat Nuno. I think from what I heard, I didn't realize what happened, but something happened to Nuno. I don't know what happened, but hopefully he has a normal race and we can fight it out on even grounds, next time.
Yes. Well, I think we'll rewind the tapes later and we can check that out.
All right. Yeah, great race, everybody.
Yeah, it was an absolute delight to watch and commentate on. Corvid, if we can go to you, 4th place in the end. Final lap, you just lost that hint of the podium. You looked so good for it. Give us the rundown of your race.
Yeah, I didn't drive well enough to get fourth, honestly. Like, I just had no consistency the whole race, and I had a really strong strat, and I think like if the rain didn't came in the way it did, my strat would have played out fine and would have gotten third, but it gave me it just lost. I lost so much time in the wet, and then having to battle with Marion was always going to end up poorly for me, I think. And yeah, I just lost it the last lap, which is always disappointing. But I'm pleased with how the race went overall, despite the fact that I'm not really impressed with my own pace. But yeah, I'm fine with fourth. Team's gotten good points finally for the first time in a while, so we'll see if we can come back stronger next race.
Yeah. I mean, is there any sort of team orders at FGR, you know, your championship defending teammate? Would you have been forced to stay behind her had it come push to shove on the final
no
lap?
Chance. No chance.
Sure.
I mean, I was fighting her the whole last stint. I made a really big mess of the my pit exit, and that got her in front of me, and then I was just fighting her for the rest of the stint.
Yeah, it looked. Was I right to say that the pit stops weren't ghosted? They didn't look ghosted to me.
They weren't ghosted, no. I got shoved in my pit box several times.
Yeah, I was going to say that looked a difficult double stack for the FGR's crew to do. Yeah. And finally, Mart, back in UL, back with Mayhem, 15th place in the end. Really quite not a bad result, actually. You were in the mix there. How'd that race feel?
Yeah. I'm eating a melon.
Okay.
Felt nice.
Okay. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if it will be P14 or 15.
Yes,
We'll
you're right.
see.
I feel like that might be a position swap with Pumpkin. That was a little bit over the line on the final corner.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair,
I
he
had
didn't
too
have
much
that
speed.
time. Yeah, he didn't have too much time to give the place back like I did with multiple lap.
Yeah.
And I also liked, we're talking about the weather. You said the Polish Grand Prix or something in Poland.
Mhm.
One thing, you were not in Poland.
No, I realised that mid-race, so I stopped calling it that.
Yeah.
But thank you.
Oh, nice race.
Oopsie. Anyways, we'll end it on that wonderful bombshell. Thank you so much for watching this fantastic race. Really entertaining one. We will be back again next week for the 4th round of the season. We are absolutely flying through the UL season for the Italian Grand Prix at the Imola circuit. But until then, bye-bye.